Gospel music is a big part of the Easter season for the majority of Christians, and concerts and church gatherings are usually packed. Likewise, gospel artist Ncebakazi Msomi is booked to perform at various locations around the country. She joins me now in studio. Ncebakazi, a pleasure to have you on the program this evening. Speak to us about when and how did this journey of music really start for you? I mean, you've traveled across the country pushing the banner of your Christian faith, and stories about your life as well.
Yes, thank you, Lindelani. So basically it started right at home in the Assemblies of God Church, where my mother was part of the music ministry. But more formally, it started when Dr. Lindelani of Joyous Celebration discovered me. I believe it was here in Joburg in 2010, and then he offered me the opportunity to join Joyous Celebration and to be part of the choir and to, you know, start touring with them after recording, I think, Joyous 15. So it's been a beautiful, long journey of me just building myself up within this industry, within this space, but mostly with a focus on, you know, my ministry commitment side of it, because there is the industry part of it, then there's also what we call ministry, which then means that you don't quite divorce yourself. Yes, there's the stage lights and all of that glam, but you don't divorce yourself from the church itself, which is why a weekend like this is quite significant for those of us who then marry the two, the industry plus the ministry.
It's very interesting you mentioned the name of Lindelani. Yes. I mean, he's a big deal, especially within musical circles, not just Christian music, but in various genres as well. Let's speak about that particular relationship of you and Lindelani, the mentor.
Yeah, he's quite a versatile individual, as you've mentioned. I mean, he's just got the ear for music. It just so happens that out of the many projects that he's been part of, Joyous Celebration has been one of those, you know, monumental projects that he's done. You know, almost like a defining project for, I believe, his music career. And he dedicates himself to it, also, I believe, inspired by his mother, who was also like a choir conductor in the gospel music space. And one of the most beautiful things that I found in my journey in Joyous Celebration, being mentored by somebody like him, is that he tries his best to bring out, you know, the essence of who you are. You know, I think he emphasizes the importance of don't try and be somebody else in this industry, then it won't work, because, you know, the signature that you have is why I picked you out of the many that sing in the churches and things of that nature. So it's even where you feel, you know, there's limitations to your talents, he finds a way to harness that so that it becomes a strength or something that the audiences begin to relate to. So he doesn't seek out perfection from musicians more than he seeks out authenticity. And I think that's why it was so easy for me to, not just within Joyous Celebration, but also for my own personal project, to work with him, because he's that kind of individual who's, you know, bound to bring out the best in anybody, almost, you know.
Tell us a bit more about your upbringing. I like to raise this question because it gives you perspective of what really influences somebody. You are from Mdantsane in the Eastern Cape. Tell us a bit more about your upbringing and really your influences as you explored this desire to get into music. Yeah,
so Mdantsane, mostly known for boxing, but also choirs as well. So, you know, like I mentioned, my mother being, you know, a musician within our town, within our church. Then my sister formed a group in the 90s, which was like Youth with Mission. So she, with my brothers, they were my first exposure into the industry side of things, because then they would come to Joburg. That's when studios were like a thing of Joburg only, before, you know, people discovered that they could actually have this anywhere, really. People literally have studios now in their garages. So anyway, so at that point in time, I think Sizwe Zakwa, also one of another gospel legend, she got to work with him producing their album, and then got to have ties with people like Dr. Rebecca Malope, who I believe helped her to come out of the shell, because it can be so easy for you if you're coming from the Eastern Cape to feel like you are only limited to that sort of market. And those were the sort of people that paved the way, because I saw them and how they broke out of the limitations of the space as it was, and the comfort zone. And so by the time I joined Joyous Celebration, a lot of the influences that I'd seen from Sis Kanyisa, people like Sis Kolega, you know, coming from that side, they helped me to find my footing without losing who I was based on the background that I came from. So yeah, beautiful, colorful background of dance, and I'm very proud of my, my hometown, East London as a whole. And yeah, I believe that all the things that I am today are because of the people that God exposed me to in that place.
You touched on a very important subject a short while ago about your exploration of ministry, or getting into ministry as well. But one would likely imagine that with your busy schedule, it can be very difficult to balance the two out. So how have you nurtured, especially this gift of ministry, knowing that you are so busy as well, sharing stages with the likes of Kirk Franklin? You're touring the world here.
Yeah, so funny enough, one of my mentors in life, we once asked him, my husband and I, what does balance look like in life? And he was like, it doesn't exist. But at different phases in your life, there's going to be different priorities, and certain things are going to be more urgent than others. And he said, if you get that right, identifying what is the burning issue of the moment, and then you create a hierarchy of apportioning your time according to that, then you will find your footing, and you will sort of like develop a balance of some sort. And so for me, I found that whenever I give myself to the work of the Lord, He makes all these other things that would require me to exert my strength, my mental faculties, they suddenly become easier. I mean, areas of academics, areas of even at the workplace, where I would toil a lot because I'm just withdrawing myself from ministry. I found that when I put my hand up and I said, okay, God, I'm getting back into it, suddenly He worked and made all of those other things somewhat easier. It doesn't come without sleepless nights. I mean, who gets 8 hours of sleep these days? Only the lucky few, right? I'm not one of those. But generally, I believe God has helped me to strike what feels like a natural balance right now, because I'm in the space of purpose. And when you're in a space of purpose, there's less toiling, there's less of a load on your shoulders, because there's the assistance and the aiding that you get from the Holy Spirit, as long as you are walking in alignment with the purpose that He saw fit for your life.
You're also a recording artist, and your debut album was The 34th Psalm. Yes. Let's speak about some of the projects that you're working on right now, and what we can expect from you.
All right, so we haven't, because people have been like crying for this, for me to actually just do a launch of the album, like an actual show. That's, I suppose, one of those things that I need to fit into my schedule somehow. I believe we must do that first, before then I start recording new music. But when we do that, type of show, we will also like take it as an opportunity to also introduce some of these songs that have been laid in my heart, because also apart from singing, I write songs that come from my heart and from my life's experiences. So yeah.
And we're not just going to leave you, or you're not going to leave us without giving us a performance. Speak to us about the song that you've chosen for this evening, which we will have you perform after the break, and why the significance, especially during this time.
Yeah, so the song is simply titled Ncebakazi, which means holy, right? And I think at the core of everything that God and Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for us, the commemoration of today, this whole weekend is about His life that He was given in our stead. So at the crux of their character is holiness, right? So what better way, to adore Him than to draw from that attribute, which is, timeless in every situation, in dark situations. One thing that we can always rely on, that it doesn't change, it doesn't diminish, is the holiness of God. So the song simply says that my heart, my mind, who I am, it bows down in acknowledgement of the fact that you are a higher deity, you are holy.
We can't wait for that. And trust me, you do not want to miss. So that was gospel artist Ncebakazi Msomi.